The United States and Iran have been engaging in high-pressure tactics on both the diplomatic as well as the military fronts. From the beginning of the 14-day ceasefire on the 8th of April, remember, neither Washington nor Tehran has walked back even an inch from their demands. The narratives amplified by both sides show a pattern of claims and rebuttals, an escalation phase, followed by a brief de-escalation, and then the loop continues. Let's go back to the 8th of April, when Donald Trump had announced a last-minute ceasefire before the deadline of his infamous threat to end Iran's civilization. The Iranian side said that Lebanon is included in the ceasefire and that Pakistan's version repeated this very claim. But a day later, the White House and Israel said that Lebanon was not part of the deal. Cut to the 16th of April. The United States brokered a ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. Iran responded by reopening the Strait of Hormuz the following day. The country's foreign minister, Sayed Abbas Araghchi, himself had announced this move. But both sides quickly moved to an escalation phase after Trump announced that Iran had agreed to hand over its nuclear dust. Iran, meanwhile, denied agreeing to such a condition and announced the closure of the Hormuz Strait once again, citing the continuation of the U.S. naval blockade as the reason. Then in his next move, Donald Trump announced a second round of talks with Iran. In fact, he also said that the U.S. delegation will reach Islamabad on Monday, that's today. But Iran is yet to confirm its participation in the second round of talks in Islamabad.
As of now, as I am speaking to you, we have no plan for the next round of negotiations. No decision has been taken in this regard.
Now, hours after Trump's announcement of the next round of talks, American forces boarded an Iranian vessel in the Gulf of Oman. Iran called it a breach of the ceasefire, and the IRGC vowed to respond in kind. Now, the only connecting link between Tehran and Washington has been Islamabad. Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir and the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif are talking to both sides. In fact, despite the uncertainty, Islamabad is preparing for the second round of talks. As per reports, Pakistan's Army Chief Asim Munir has told Donald Trump that the naval blockade of Iranian ports is creating a hurdle in pursuing Iran for the holding of the next round of talks with Washington. Even if both sides agree to talk and show up in Islamabad, the future of the ceasefire now depends on how they bridge the gap on the Strait of Hormuz and the issue of nuclear enrichment. Let me first quickly go across to Susan Tehrani. She's joining us live on the broadcast from New York. Remember, there are reports that are coming in from America that the Vice President, J.D. Vance, will soon land in Islamabad. Let's quickly get in a word from Susan. Susan, what are you hearing? There has been no official confirmation yet from either side, America or Iran. But now we've got some American media outlets reporting that J.D. Vance, along with the delegation, will be back in Islamabad.
So we haven't gotten a White House email official confirmation yet. I have reached out to the White House to get confirmation regarding that. It all started with a New York Post story where the reporter allegedly spoke with President Trump, and President Trump said that they will arrive in Pakistan soon. That was taken to the understanding that they're already in the air flying to Islamabad. However, CNN is now reporting that they are planning to leave. The negotiations are expected to take place Wednesday afternoon, and they will depart Washington to Islamabad shortly. So two very conflicting reports, not about whether or not this negotiating team is going to Islamabad, but as to when. We haven't seen any images of J.D. Vance on the tarmac or leaving the United States, which we usually get. So it's hard to imagine that they just left really quickly without, the formalities. So again, we're going to get confirmation, but as of now, the White House is debunking those claims that they have already left the United States.
All right, Susan, you keep an eye on that, and we'll keep coming back to you as and when and if that confirmation does come in from the White House. Thanks very much for joining us at the moment. Let me also quickly get in our guest for the evening, Fuad Izadi. He's an associate professor, Faculty of World Studies at the University of Tehran, also a columnist and political commentator. He's joining us live from Tehran. Mr. Izadi, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to first understand from you what you're hearing within Tehran. Is there a confirmation that Iranian authorities will be part of the second round of negotiations?
It would be difficult for Iranians to go to Islamabad. You're supposed to be negotiating in good faith in international relations. The United States started a blockade of Iran right after the talks last time. And blockading other countries is an act of war under international law. The war on Iran is illegal. The blockade is illegal. And then 24 hours before the next round of negotiations, they attacked an Iranian ship. This is not negotiating in good faith. When countries negotiate in good faith, they don't shoot at the other side, and they lower their rhetoric. Trump is tweeting profanity against Iran and ordering these attacks on Iran. So it's very difficult for the Iranian side to go to Islamabad because they don't want to waste their time. They need to make sure that this is not another deception operation. Last time Iran was negotiating with the U.S., they attacked Iran in the middle of negotiations.
So, Mr. Izadi, a lot of experts around the world say that this is a pre-negotiation posturing that Iran is putting up. Last time around, before the first round of negotiations, we also saw Iran denying that it will take part in talks, but then they ended up in Islamabad having those negotiations. What would you say about that? That, this is perhaps posturing, because these kind of threats were coming in from Donald Trump earlier as well.
As you know, last time Lebanon was part of the ceasefire agreement. This is not the Iranians saying it. Pakistani Prime Minister specifically mentioned Lebanon as part of the agreement. And then the Iranian side said that these attacks should stop. And the delegation did not go to Islamabad until the other side accepted to stop bombing Beirut. And then, as you know, after a few days, they started a ceasefire in Lebanon as well. So this is not posturing. It would be a political suicide for any Iranian politician to fall for another deception operation. Even if they're looking at their own interests, they would not want to look foolish. And so they're very careful about Americans, because Americans are capable of engaging in deception in the manner that we have seen them doing it.
So what is the way forward then, Mr. Izadi? This seems to be a stalemate, particularly when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. There have been certain altercations as well. But then how is Iran looking at this as to how it will move forward?
Iran did not start this war, and the Strait of Hormuz was very much open 2 months ago. It was Trump and Netanyahu that started this war. Trump can realize that this is a failed policy against Iran. He can declare victory today and go and do other mischiefs, maybe take over Greenland or Canada or some other thing. His policy on Iran has failed, and they can stop the blockade. I think if the Iranian side gets the message that the blockade is stopping, then they may actually go to Islamabad. But Iran has been very accommodating, providing Trump with negotiating tables. Iran was attacked in the middle of negotiations in June. Trump called that attack Midnight Hammer. He took the hammer, he smashed that table. Then in February, he smashed another negotiating table. Iran is providing Trump with the third negotiating table. We have to wait and see whether they want to actually use the table or attack Iran again.
Quickly, before I let you go, Mr. Izadi, would that negotiating table from the Iranian side also include nuclear dust and uranium enrichment, as Donald Trump has said and told the entire world?
We don't have nuclear dust. This is Trump talk. This is enriched uranium. There are a lot of people in Iran that believe that U.S. wants to attack Iran using tactical nuclear weapons. And one reason they haven't done it yet is because that gives Iran permission to actually build its own nuclear weapon. When you're attacked with nuclear weapons, everybody understands that then you get to have your own. He wants to take this enriched uranium out of Iran so he can threaten Iran with nuclear bombs without worrying about Iran being able to do the same. And he has already threatened to end Iran's civilization. So using nuclear weapons on Iran is something that Trump is capable of doing. So this is one reason Iranian officials are careful not to make Trump's life easier.
All right, I'll leave it there. Mr. Fouad Izadi, thanks very much for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective.
Thank you.